The following program is paid for by the Real Estate Radio Network.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Fresno on 105.9 The FM KMJ. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Craig Barton.
Good morning, Central Valley. I am your host, Craig Barton, and welcome to the Real Estate Radio Network, the show that Michelle's trying to rename as we speak. The most important hour of radio each week. Here on 105.9 The FM. I'll explain later. KMJ. Real Estate Radio is a show dedicated to bringing some rational thought with this crazy co-host that I have here in the studio and helping you to rebuild the Central Valley's housing and credit markets. It needs some rebuilding right at the moment, just so you know. And within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted advice from Michelle and I, and that's what you are going to hear every Sunday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. right here on 105.9 The FM KMJ. I was ad-libbing. Did you
I noticed that. I was looking for my Lincoln logs. We're going to rebuild it. We're going to rebuild it.
We are. I'm in a rebuilding mood. I had my
build it and they will come. Isn't that what they say?
I totally completely agree.
Yeah.
Good
morning, Craig.
Thanks so much for joining us. That other voice in the studio. You're just all googly moogly this morning.
I'm giddy today.
You're
what
giddy?
can I say? It's been a good week.
Yeah.
It really was a good week. Happy June.
You know, and it's
First week of June is over.
First week of June is over. My gosh. Ay.
Sorry to bring.
No. It's
time flying.
Just so you know, the week after next is Thanksgiving, and the week after that is Christmas.
Exactly. That's how it feels.
That's how it feels when you approach 50.
5
at light speed. No, 55. Wow. Thanks,
just
Johnny.
Teasing. I'm still 32.
You are at that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 12 at heart. Or was that 12 mentally?
Yeah, mentally.
Mm-hmm. There we go. As always, it's so good to have Michelle Lynn Pettis.
See, I changed it.
I know you did.
I added a third name because every week it seemed like you were caught off guard, like Michelle Pettis, which is boring to you and
Johnny,
stagnant.
all I was saying was Michelle, because before it was a 3 name.
So I gave you a third name.
I was just getting used to Michelle Pettis, and now we've got to do Michelle Lynn Pettis.
Well, hey, I was trying to help you flow.
These actresses are so temperamental.
I am very high maintenance. Drama queen.
Oh my gosh,
she's
actually way more fun. No,
more fun in person?
No, way more fun in person. I actually almost said she's way more fun than it's worth, but that came out wrong.
Yeah.
Michelle, my trusted cohort, my trusted companion here every Sunday morning.
Good morning, Craig. I'm so excited about our show.
Is a licensed real estate professional. I'm excited about today's show. You know, the Real Estate Radio Network gives us, Michelle and myself, the opportunity to reach so many people efficiently for 1 full hour each and every week. We're trying to put a little different spin on real estate and mortgages, trying to make it not so black and white and bland.
Mixing it up.
Like a plain saltine cracker.
Speaking of names for the show, what's the haps, Frez?
What's the
haps, Fresno? See, that's
wow.
shaking it up. That could shake up the real estate market right there. What's the haps?
What's the haps, Fres?
In Fresno?
Okay, I feel like this should be
Fresno
1968, and you've got your cigarette going in the studio here.
Oh my goodness, I do.
You got your oatmeal. You got your oatmeal moo on. And what's the haps, Fres?
I'm 35.
Yeah. Well, our goal in present-day Fresno is to get you, our listeners, the timely and accurate truth about your local real estate market, so we collectively can help bring you
back home.
Well, on today's show, this is not David Letterman, by the way, the top 10 reasons to be optimistic about the housing market, not just here in Fresno, not just in California, but nationally. And mortgage rates climbed to the highest level in a year, unfortunately. You know, rates fluctuate on a daily basis. We'll talk about that in greater detail. And the Treasury Department extends mortgage relief refinancing program. There's a housing bubble that a few economists have concerns about, and it appears to be brewing in key markets nationally. And millennials, first of all.
Okay, are these like perennials?
They are, and you plant them every 74 years.
Wow.
Yep. They bloom.
They sound like they bloom. They
millennials say
like a flower.
They don't want a home like their parents. Say it ain't so, Sam. We're also going to take some listener questions. We've got some really good listener questions. Keep that part up, kids. Make sure you stay with us. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that Michelle and myself share with you on our show, just ask Craig. Did I do that okay?
Yeah, I like it.
Call us anytime. 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. You can also go to our resources online. Search for your new home or just ask Craig anything. Whether it's bankruptcy, we've got a wealth, bankruptcy, foreclosure, short sale, selling your home. What's my home worth? There's a number of different professionals that we can help introduce you to. I'd be happy to answer your questions. Go to our website, valleywidesells.com. To friend us on Facebook, use press for keywords. Just ask Craig. Thank you. You should have beat me to the punch there.
Nah, I'm a little slow today.
Yeah, or use press for keywords.
Just ask Craig.
Just ask Craig. To get connected to us anytime, we'd love to hear from you. Michelle, what's press for? You heard me say press for keywords.
It's an app.
It's an app.
Not an apple, an app.
It's not an apple, it's an app.
It's an app. So you load the app, and when you're driving down the street and you're on your way to a showing that you're already late for, and you need to get a hold of Craig.
Sounds like something that happened this week, Johnny.
You hit the app button, and it opens it up, and I say, just ask Craig. And it calls you.
And so when you say just ask Craig, I'm assuming that's what we were referring to as the keywords.
Exactly.
Those are the keywords.
Those are the keywords. Just ask Craig.
The keywords that you hear on the radio.
Because it'll say something to the effect of...
Please say your keywords now.
Yeah, please speak now. So I say, just ask Craig. And then you get on the phone and I say, on this conventional loan, blah, blah, blah. And I ask you all the questions of my client. Just ask me so that I can make sure I'm right.
Yeah.
Or wrong.
Good.
Or clarify.
I like that.
Yeah. But it's an app that you press while you're driving or while you're sitting or wherever.
Yeah.
And it's nice because it's immediate connection.
When you're away from your computer.
Exactly.
You're listening to the radio.
Yeah, I can't email you while I'm driving. The law told me I can't text, so I'm pretty sure they won't let me email you.
I'm pretty sure they won't let you either.
And I can only wear one headset ear, too, so you better talk loud when I call you on Press 4.
You can only wear one headset?
Yeah, you can't have
that's
both.
Illegal, too.
That's illegal, too.
Gotcha.
What's next?
Yeah. What are they going to take away next from us, Johnny, for crying out loud?
Welcome to California.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look. Move out of California.
So what? I said, welcome to California.
Oh, welcome to California. I thought she said move out of California.
Hey. Yeah.
Well, it's one of the two. Welcome to or move out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, right. If you don't like the tax bracket, then
if you want to stay,
get to stepping. Here we go. Yeah, if you want to stay, let's take a look at today's Hot Properties. Today's Hot Properties brought to you by Perfect Inspections. Whether it's residential, multifamily, or a commercial property that you would like to have inspected, use press for keywords.
Perfect Home Inspection.
Or call Dale today for your Perfect Home Inspection at 352-6941. Again, that's 352-6941. Well, today's hot property is a HUD home. And you know that we feature HUD homes regularly here on the show. A HUD home, again, is a home that is currently owned by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, which also is an umbrella agency over the Federal Housing Administration. Now, FHA insures mortgages in an effort to help create greater liquidity on the housing market and protect lenders in the event that the buyer defaults on their financing. So Bank of America makes the loan, and it's an FHA loan. It's insured by the Federal Housing Administration. Unfortunately, let's say at some point down the road, the buyer experiences some sort of hardship, loses a job, loses a spouse, and is unable to make the payments. Bank of America takes the property back. Bank of America then files an insurance claim with HUD, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, of the Federal Housing Administration. The HUD pays the claim and then takes the property back in lieu and then begins to market the property as a HUD home. Well, today's HUD home is 2043 Boccioni Lane in Clovis. This property is located on Herndon Avenue right across from the Boz Allergy Center as well as GB3. Yeah.
It's a great little place.
It is a great, I tell you what, for someone that doesn't want to have, that wants to have single family residents living and kind of an apartment feel. And this is a good-sized property. The house is 1,658 square feet. It's 3-bedroom, 3-bath.
That's a big place.
It's 2-story. It's a townhome. Does also have a garage. The HOA fees are $220 monthly, which covers all common area maintenance, which is great because you don't have to take care of anything outside.
Right.
I mean, it's no fuss, no muss. It's all taken care of. And it's gated.
Well, and for busy working folks, it makes it make sense.
It makes it make sense.
It does.
All this for $135,000. This property was appraised with an FHA appraisal at $135,000, which saves your buyer, if you're an agent, or saves you, if you're a buyer, roughly $450 a month. That appraisal can be taken anywhere. It's completely 100% portable. An amazing deal. And there are no repairs required. So there was no repairs that were called with this FHA appraisal, which is great, because how many times do you see it? You know
deficient
as well
properties.
Exactly. You know as well as I do.
Deficient.
You submit an offer on a property, and it's got, as we would call it, it's got some hair. It's got some issues that need to be taken care of, and you've got to ask for these repairs. There's no repairs required on this property.
Well, and I don't know, we've had a lot of activity on this particular property. And tomorrow is the bidding deadline.
Yep.
So if you want to get a bid in, or you want to see this property, you need to give us a call today or tomorrow,
Michelle,
to make an appointment.
How do they get a hold of you to see this property today?
To see this property
what's your
today,
number?
559-367-6800.
367-6800. If you'd like to see...
Text or call.
Yeah, text or call. If you'd like to see this property at 2043 Boccioni Lane. 1,600, almost 1,700
That's a
square
big
feet.
house, big condo.
Yeah, 3-bedroom, 3-bath for $135,000. If you'd like more information about today's hot property, give us a call anytime. Just ask Craig or Michelle. 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. Or use press 4 keywords.
Hot property.
Hot property. And we'll send you more information about this hot property right to your phone. Look for more hot properties each week right here on the Real Estate Radio Network. Well, top stories in the news. Fresno County inventory continues to top the stories here locally. 1,071 active listings in Fresno County, equaling roughly 1.6 months of active inventory based upon sales that we've seen. As an example, this last month, 664 closings.
They're coming up.
For May.
The winter is over. Spring has hit us. They're coming up.
They're coming up, which means that if our inventory doesn't increase, we're going to be shortly down to 1.2, 1.3 months.
0.9. Yeah, it's going to keep going down if we're not careful. But yeah, there's a lot of activity out there and not a lot of homes. So if you have broken even and you're no longer upside down and you need to eliminate that payment, now is a good time.
Yeah, you see more and more buyers, whether you're a traditional buyer, a husband and wife, a young couple, wanting to buy their first home, or an investor that's looking to buy properties to flip. I can't tell you how many folks that I spoke with this week that are new to the market. I even had an investor call me this week, and it's an investor that's well-known locally, and said, hey, I don't have time to do this, that, or the other thing. So
I need more properties.
Can you help? Yeah, I need more properties. Can you find me some short sales? Yeah, very, very interesting. Well, top 10 reasons why you should be optimistic about the housing market currently, I should say. Number 1, this sounds like it's rather obvious.
I think it's obvious.
Home values have been rising.
No, really?
Yeah, roughly
Shocking.
19.8% in California year over year from March of 2012 to March of 2013.
Okay, yeah, that's insane, but okay.
More new households are forming.
I like that one. It sounds so positive, doesn't it?
It does. It sounds like it's Easter with a little Easter bunny and an Easter basket.
Households are forming. And, we see that based on the volume of first-time home buyers trying to get into homes. And I like the way that's worded. More new households.
Well, you got
more families
Yeah,
are
more
forming.
families. Mm-hmm. Number 3, foreclosure starts are falling to pre-housing bust levels.
I'm glad for that, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, it's a destructive process, so amen.
Yeah. Number 4, interest rates should remain low through next year's selling season.
Did Ben tell them that? Is Ben committing to this?
He's committed to the tune of $84 billion a month in terms of...
Ben, please call me.
Yep. Number 5, low demand for home purchases, or loan demand, loan demand for home purchases is climbing.
Mm-hmm. I think people are seeing that everything they see in the news is not correct, that people they know that they didn't expect to be able to buy a house are buying houses.
Why do you think?
Why is it not me, they're thinking, and they're out checking it out.
Exactly. Why do you think we try to put a positive spin on what's going on out in today's market?
I think that's great. I think a lot of people are testing the waters. Good stuff.
Well, number 6, perfect example. More Americans say it's a good time to sell.
And don't you feel the optimism?
Yeah.
You do. You feel the optimism as we're in the marketplace doing business on a daily basis.
Yeah, we're going to talk later about consumer confidence. I love talking about consumer confidence. I think especially in today's market, it's one of those variables that I know you say.
What did I say?
Get the rainbow spray paint out.
Hey, get our rainbow spray paint out.
And
the world is a beautiful place.
It is. Oh, my gosh. Number 7, the number of improving housing markets is going up. It is.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Stability.
Yeah. And number 8, housing starts are picking up as builder confidence increases.
And I love that one.
Yep.
I absolutely love that one.
Well, you can't have one without the other. I don't believe you can't have a housing recovery without builders that builder confidence is up.
Exactly.
Consumer confidence is up.
Well,
Builders are building.
Yeah, I grew up in a blue collar family. And so much of our industry is affected by that here locally that I just think, hallelujah, let's get these guys back to work.
Yeah. Number 9, as housing values rise and equity returns, fewer homeowners are underwater.
Nice.
Yeah.
Again, confidence.
Such a small percentage of today's market, roughly about 10% of all active listings in Fresno County are short sales. And that number's shrinking.
They're not available. They're just not there.
No. And number 10, real estate is contributing to an overall economic recovery. That in and of itself, real estate is such a huge, important part of GDP nationally.
I was in a new neighborhood the other day.
Yeah.
Seeing a washer and dryer delivered with a refrigerator to a new house, and all I could think is, there you go. That's what makes it all keep going.
Yeah, exactly.
The delivery guy's making money now. The appliance guy's making money for selling the appliances. I mean, that's what makes this world continue to move.
Yep, exactly.
Good stuff.
Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that Michelle and myself share with you on our show, call us anytime, 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. So you can just ask Craig.
There you go.
Yeah. You can also check out our resources online. Go to our website, search for Your Next Home. It's a great little search, isn't it?
Valleywide Sales.
Yeah, valleywidesales.com. To friend us on Facebook, use Press 4 Keywords.
Or just ask Craig.
Use Press 4 Keywords, just ask Craig, to get connected to us anytime. I kind of sound like a broken record, don't I?
I like it.
Well, coming up, the housing bubble concerns brew in a few key markets nationally, and Michelle and I are going to talk about millennials. And they say...
I like pansies.
Yeah, you do. All right.
Carnations.
Yeah, there you go.
Daisies.
They say they don't want their home like their parents. And millions of above water borrowers lack enough equity to move. Still, interesting. Make sure you stay with us. You are listening to the Real Estate Radio Network, helping you to redefine real estate here on 105.9, the FM KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Mortgage interest rates are at historic lows, and there's never been a more affordable time to buy real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing property, let the mortgage professionals at Valleywide help. Valleywide Homes has been helping homeowners with their mortgage needs since 1997. When it comes to the Valley's real estate, we know our way around the neighborhood. Call toll-free, 800-979-3958. Put the seasoned professionals at Valleywide Homes to work for you. Valleywide Homes, NMLS number 342062, 235-952, California Department of Real Estate License 0122-8460. Have you ever thought about going solar? It's never been easier to go solar than with a SunPower lease. You'll start saving money the very first day. Arise Solar has a team of energy consultants ready to help you determine if going solar is right for you. Start taking control of your energy costs. Contact Arise Solar, your local SunPower Elite dealer, at 449-8989. That's Arise Solar at 449-8989. Or use Press 4 Keywords, Arise Solar.
Did you know that all the tickets you can buy on different websites come from the same place? Did you know that you can buy every ticket you need to any event in the country, the whole country, from Pete's Seats right here in Fresno? If that's the case, you need to call Pete's Seats. Any ticket, anytime. Sports, concerts, theater. Hey, there's seats, and then there's Pete's Seats. Premium tickets for all events, local, national, worldwide. Don't settle for a regular seat when you can get a really good Pete's Seat. Online at PeteSeats.net or simply 294-SEAT. That's 294-7328.
How much should I be saving? When can I retire? What can I do to ensure that my estate will be left in the hands of my family once I'm gone? Is my hard-earned money safe in today's markets?
With all the uncertainty in today's world, all of us at the Island Group know it is our job to provide answers to these questions. Walk with us, the Island Group at UBS Financial Services. Call me, Kate Island, at 559-248-4097. That's 559-248-4097, and take the first step in protecting your financial future.
All rights reserved. UBS Financial Services, Inc. is a subsidiary of UBS AG. Member SIPC.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Well, Michelle, as we mentioned prior to our break, the most optimism that we see in the housing market helps, so many different areas as far as our economy is concerned. Well, housing starts have picked up, but builders are experiencing, unfortunately, another dilemma on the horizon. When we saw the downturn prior to the housing crash, so many folks, and I can't tell you, it seemed very ominous at the time. So many folks were forced out of the construction trades. Whether you were a tile setter, whether you were, I have a great friend that owns a tile company here locally in town, and so many of his men, he went from being a huge operation and working for a large national builder. Now he's working for a local builder, but he had to downsize so dramatically. Well, as we see that builders are locally seeing, actually not builders just locally, but they're struggling to find enough construction workers.
That doesn't surprise me, though.
Not at all.
No, because exactly what you speak of, there were a lot of businesses that just went out of business.
Sure.
And companies that closed their doors. And it is cyclic. We've always talked about it. But that cycle hit that particular industry more than since what, the Depression?
Right.
I mean, really, the industries were hit really, really hard. And those folks have had to redefine who they are. Some of them gone back to school. Some of them have found other employment. And for them to stop what they're doing now and to consider going back to that cyclic environment, some are hesitant.
Exactly.
You can't really blame them.
Most definitely. Well, home builders are struggling to find skilled tradesmen to come in and fill those positions. So taking into consideration where we live in the breadbasket of the world, here in California. Also, there's a farm labor shortage that looms as well. So we've got a bit of a conundrum here. We've got two different industries, so interrelated, but also have such a huge impact upon each other because there's a shortage of workers that are coming to California or live in California that'll actually work in the fields. So some of those folks that may have had to be underemployed that were skilled trades and then ended up having to go work in the fields or work in other jobs where they would be considered, they were making $26 an hour and now they're working and making 12, let's say.
Right.
Both of those industries are experiencing a bit of a pinch.
But I think that comes from a generational upbringing.
As the generations evolve.
Exactly. Yeah. Because, most of us would agree that here locally we see first generation, very, very hardworking, labor-driven groups generally. Second generation, more educated. Families are pushing them towards that second, education, higher education, so that they are in a more professional environment, more white-collar workers coming out of them. And I was just telling you that I have some friends who are from farm industry, South Valley, and the father was absolutely adamant that his junior in high school was not going to work in the fields. And the junior in high school was like, I want to work this summer. I want to get a job. Well, why don't I go there? That'd be great. I can learn more about it. I like ag. I'm in in an agriculture community. Mom was totally cool with it, but Dad, holy moly, heck no. He's from the ag industry. He's a sales guy in the ag industry. Will not allow his kid to go out there and pick.
But that's
a second generation or third generation saying, my kid's not going to do what I had to do.
You always want better for your kids.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct. And I think that could be detrimental. To our economy. It's going to be detrimental. What it's going to do is it's going to draw more people. It's a political issue. It's going to draw more people into California who want to start that fresh new beginning because the second, third, and fourth generations who have come from ag don't want to be in that industry.
Want to evolve.
Yeah. And they have a right to.
That's the American way.
That's the American dream. That is the American dream. They want to buy their homes.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah.
That home builders, it's such a great thing to see so much new construction going up everywhere.
Isn't it?
Because it's such an important part. It's not just, we can't just see all the REOs, all the short sales, and we're going to sell all those off.
Right.
And then, and we're done.
But I mean, the infrastructure, we talk about it often, the infrastructure of the counties, the cities, the governmental entities that are affected by all of that going in.
Yep.
I mean, great stuff. There's a subdivision out in Fowler that actually has been sitting stagnant for a couple of years, and Woodside's coming in and building homes there. They're going to be building hopefully by, early in the fall. And I mean, that land's been sitting half of the infrastructure in for the last 3 years.
So all finished lots, all finished lots, or just half? Interesting.
It's good stuff. Good stuff coming on to each community.
Good stuff.
Nice stuff.
Well, also this year, mortgage rates climbed to the highest level in almost a year.
Oh, my gosh. What are they?
2.8%. No, I'm just kidding. Fixed rate mortgages, I'm being facetious because when they're below 4%. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I kind of feel like that SNL skit with Kate and Skip or whatever. They get on and they sing those songs. So you guys are, you have to see it.
Yeah, I don't watch it
it's good
all
stuff.
the time.
Fixed rate mortgages soared higher this week, reaching their highest averages in a year. Freddie Mac reports in its weekly mortgage market survey. The 30-year fixed rate mortgage, the most popular choice among homebuyers, has climbed nearly 0.5%.
Watch out.
Whoa. Since the beginning of the month, from 3.35% to 3.81% this week.
You go, rates. You go. Watch
rates.
out.
Yeah, if Ben has anything
rates
to
are
say,
rising.
Rates are rising. If Ben has anything to say about rates rising, they're not going to rise all that fast.
No, I don't think they are.
At some point we're going to hear inflation come into the conversation, and then we'll start seeing short-term rates increase. But really, at this point,
it's a non-issue.
Seems more distant than tomorrow. It really does. Well, housing bubble concerns brew. Yeah, brew.
Like iced tea or what?
Yeah, not so much. No, it's kind of like a gurgly kind of brewing. Yeah. Well, skyrocketing home prices in a few markets have some analysts concerned that prices are on the rise way too fast and could ultimately hamper the housing recovery. In many markets, fundamentals are improving as unemployment rates continue declining, while low prices and low interest rates have affordability high, according to analysts for Fitch Ratings, a credit rating agency. However, especially in cities that never fully unwound in the mid-2000s bubble, rapidly increasing price levels are a potential cause for concern.
Supply and demand.
Yeah.
It's all about supply and demand.
Yeah, it's interesting as well. I read a story this week about Detroit. And, Detroit is a topic that comes up every once in a while. How inner city Detroit is just has been so devastated. But it's been devastated by a number of things, meaning that their infrastructure has huge issues. That buildings, basically they were stating in this article that in order for Detroit to begin even looking at a potential recovery, they are going to have to demolish blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks. The number of acres that would be required in order to, quote-unquote, wipe the slate clean so that they could begin
to rebuild
with a sound, because the population of the city has decreased so dramatically over the last 30 years that they've got to begin, they've really got to look at revising the entire general plan, starting from ground zero. Unfortunately, right at the moment, it's really a matter of getting everyone to agree as to where to start. And that's probably the biggest concern and the biggest problem that they have to deal with is getting those folks to agree that we may have to disagree before we begin our collective recovery. Because I saw a story on TV recently on 60 Minutes and just showing how devastated it was, where infrastructure, it looked like Swiss cheese, where the infrastructure, you had this pipe rupture, and it was just spewing water.
Wow.
And it wasn't an immediate concern where you would think if there was a problem like that where it was in other words, it wasn't a gas line. It's not going to hurt somebody.
I see. Health and safety wasn't an issue.
It's not going to hurt somebody. We'll deal with it at some point.
Gotcha.
It's just water.
Wow.
Yeah. Real scary. Let's also talk about, for first-time homebuyers, we've got a first-time homebuyer workshop that's coming up the third Tuesday of every month. This particular homebuyer workshop is going to be held at Valleywide Homes Thursday, June 20th.
From 6:30 to 8.
From 6:30 to 8 p.m.
And a caveat to that, we have added how to buy a HUD.
How to buy a HUD
There's
home?
a lot of people out there, investors, first-time home buyers, who want to understand how to buy a HUD. And I know we do a lot of education for agents. Or my friend Craig does, but I don't.
outreach.
But nonetheless, we want to be able to share with the public how to buy a HUD. It's not a difficult process. It's just something you need to understand how they operate.
It's a little different, and some people might say a little quirky, but honestly, it's not difficult.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we're going to add that to our home buyer workshop. So if anybody's interested in how to buy a HUD or the home buyer workshop, they can call Lisa at 272-0724. That's 272-0724 and register.
And some of the questions that might be answered at a first-time homebuyer workshop is, how much can you afford? Sounds kind of obvious, but some folks
don't know.
May not know.
Right.
What is down payment assistance?
Lots of resources available. We want to share those.
It's Timmer with his bag of money
That's
again.
It is.
I know it. And do I need an agent? And what will they do for me?
Hey, what does an agent do?
Well, another good question is, do I pay an agent?
And you're going to learn that at the
And you're
buyer
going to learn
workshop.
that exactly. And how soon can I expect to be in my new home?
Lots of stuff we're going to cover and lots of questions.
So again, call Lisa if you'd like to register, 272-0724. Again, 272-0724. And just to note, this is a free event.
A free event. We're going to carry these on all summer on the third Thursday of the month.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that Michelle and myself share with you on our show, just ask Craig. Give us a call, 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. Or check out our resources online. Go to our website, valleywidesells.com. To friend us on Facebook, use Press 4 Keywords.
Friend Valleywide on Facebook.
Or use Press 4 Keywords.
Just ask Craig.
To get connected to the show anytime. We'd love to hear from you. Well, after the break, consumer confidence is at a 5-year high, and why is it so important that consumers are confident about our economic outlook? Home prices in U.S. cities post big increases in March, and the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau creates incentives for consumers to pay broker fees. Make sure you stay with us. You are listening to the Real Estate Radio Network, helping you to redefine real estate here on 105.9, the FM KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Mortgage interest rates are at historic lows, and there's never been a more affordable time to buy real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing property, let the mortgage professionals at Valleywide help. Valleywide Homes has been helping homeowners with their mortgage needs since 1997. When it comes to the Valley's real estate, we know our way around the neighborhood. Call toll-free, 800-979-3958. And put the seasoned professionals at Valleywide Homes to work for you. Valleywide Homes, NMLS number 342062, 235-952, California Department of Real Estate License 0122-8460. Have you ever thought about going solar? It's never been easier to go solar than with a SunPower lease. You'll start saving money the very first day. Arise Solar has a team of energy consultants ready to help you determine if going solar is right for you. Start taking control of your energy costs. Contact Arise Solar, your local SunPower Elite dealer at 449-8989. That's Arise Solar at 449-8989. Or use Press 4 Keywords, Arise Solar.
Did you know that all the tickets you can buy on different websites come from the same place? Did you know that you can buy every ticket you need to any event in the country, the whole country, from Pete Seats right here in Fresno? If that's the case, you need to call Pete Seats. Any ticket, anytime. Sports, concerts, theater. Hey, there's seats, and then there's Pete Seats. Premium tickets for all events, local, national, worldwide. Don't settle for a regular seat when you can get a really good Pete Seat. Online at PeteSeats.net or simply 294-SEAT. That's 294-7328.
How much should I be saving? When can I retire? What can I do to ensure that my estate will be left in the hands of my family once I'm gone? Is my hard-earned money safe in today's markets?
With all the uncertainty in today's world, all of us at the Island Group know it is our job to provide answers to these questions. Walk with us, the Island Group at UBS Financial Services. Call me, Kate Island, at 559-248-4097. That's 559-248-4097, and take the first step in protecting your financial future.
All rights reserved. UBS Financial Services, Inc. is a subsidiary of UBS AG. Member SIPC.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Well, Michelle, consumer confidence At a 5-year high. No wonder. People were jumping.
2013. It was 2008.
People were jumping off buildings. In 2008.
Let me tell you.
Consumer confidence surged to a 5-year high in May, fueled by an increase in optimism about an improving job market. That's huge.
Optimism.
Yeah, the Consumer Confidence Index, which gauges how consumers feel about the economy each month, rose to 76.2% in May, its highest reading since February of 2008, according to the research firm, the Conference Board. Yeah, it's up significantly from last month's reading of 69% and is also higher than the 72.5% that was predicted by economists surveyed by Briefing.com. Now, consumer confidence has been on the rise the past 2 months. And I found this interesting. After plummeting in March, when Americans worried about the effects of an automatic government budget cut.
That cracks me up.
The gentleman from Delaware is somewhat concerned for my constituents.
Oh, well, they only worry. I mean, they only stop spending when they're worried.
Well, that's very, very true. I mean, consumer spending is nearly 10% more in 2000. Now do you see the manipulation on the market? Yeah, than 2009.
As long as they keep the public thinking everything's good, we'll just keep going. Everything's good.
So, how many times do you think Ben walks into a room and says, "Hey, Johnny, we should really make sure that we paint this pig with a wig, so that everybody thinks, because everybody thinks that everything's rosy. Because otherwise, if we don't,
right,
what happens?" Yeah,
marketing. Yeah. Perception is everything.
I love it. You hit it right on the head.
Perception is everything.
Marketing, perception is everything.
If we feel good, if we think it's good, it's good.
Well, there's no doubt that consumer. Exactly. Yeah.
Lie to ourselves. Because have they handled the fiscal cliff issues?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay, let's move on.
No, that can's just got kicked down the road.
Yeah, exactly. The worms are crawling everywhere, but somebody keeps picking them up and throwing them back in the can.
Exactly. So next thing we were going to talk about, millennials say they don't.
Okay, stop.
I know.
On the break,
they say
I went
they don't want a home like their parents. So you went searching.
I went searching because you keep bringing up this millennial word, and I'm like, is it a perennial, a millennial, a daisy, a tulip? What is it? So now I'm better educated. Okay. Would you like to hear what I learned?
Trust me.
A millennial is the name of a generation. I didn't know that. Okay, it's been brought up before, and I was so confused. So let me give you. I found a list of generations.
Go for it.
1900 to 1924. If you were born during that generation, you are a GI generation. Okay.
Okay.
If you were born in 1925 to 1945, you were the silent generation.
My mom and dad were part of the silent generation.
And if you were born 1946 to 1964, you were the baby boomers. If you were 65 to 79, you are a Generation Xer.
So 65 to 79, okay.
You almost made it. 1980 to 2000 are the Millennials or Generation Y. And now we have a new one, 2000 to present.
So millennials. So back up again real quick.
Millennials were born 1980 to 2000.
1980 to 2000.
And they also are known as Gen Y.
Oh, Gen Y. There you go.
Because it comes after X.
So isn't that interesting? Because those folks that actually went through what we went through, well, and some of those, let's say somebody was born in 1980. Mm-hmm. So when the housing market crashed, they were 27. Mm-hmm. So it's understandable that their perception is slightly different. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right?
Absolutely.
If they were still, chances are, if they were male, they were still living with their folks during the housing crash.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, generally, yeah. And then 2000 to present, they are the new silent generation or Generation Z. The new silent. The silent was 1925 to 1945, which covered the Depression, which I found kind of interesting.
So
this current from 2000 to present is the new silent generation.
So is the reason why they call them the new silent generation is that there are some characteristics that come from going through that type of economic catastrophe that both generations share?
I'm going to guess yes, but our break was only 2 minutes. I didn't have time to do more research. That'll be on our... That'll be a continuation of another conversation.
From the newsroom, Michelle's following up on a story that...
I can only Google so quickly.
Yeah. There you go. Millennial generation is showing different housing tastes than their parents' generation. So the millennial generation probably were offspring of baby boomers.
1980
to 2000. Yeah. And millennials say they prefer smaller, functional homes than sprawling McMansions.
McMansions? Is that like a McDouble?
Yeah, and they're not interested in a cookie-cutter home that look like everything else on the block.
That's interesting.
Instead, this generation is a generation of do-it-yourselfers and wants to put their individual stamp on their home and make it sure it reflects them and their tech-driven style.
I find that really interesting. And I guess because of the history involved with us growing up, the Kennedy years,
Right.
You've got, the war years, you've got everybody wanting to come home and live in those cookie cutter houses because it made everything look so perfect.
Yeah.
And these kids are like, I don't want the pretend perfect. I want to do my own thing.
My own individual stamp, my own
We
identity.
can look at that a lot of different ways. I mean, I'm no counselor, but, is it self-serving? What is it?
Right,
I find
right.
it interesting, though.
Right,
It'd be
right.
interesting to watch as it proceeds.
It's also so interesting how we, as being in the sales-driven industry that we are, that we've got to make sure that we pay special attention to who is our core client.
Right.
How do they hear about us? Are they a baby boomer? Are they a Gen X, Gen Y, the new silent generation?
What is it they're wanting?
What is it? Well, who are they, number one, and what is it that they are wanting?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch as we move forward
Well,
because those folks are jumping in the market right now.
And at what point do the builders begin to take notice of, hey, I want my own thing, I want my own stamp, I want my own...
I think right now the builders are very much listening to the consumers. If you visit the builders in our areas, you are seeing smaller, taller, more efficient and economical homes that they are building. Now, whether that's based on need due to land values and whatnot or not, I don't know. But you do see them evolving with solar and a lot of energy efficiency and things, user-friendly items. Put it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, the iPod... hookup in every room on the wall.
Right.
Now that I find to be totally interesting because technology comes and goes so quickly. I mean, literally,
Evolves.
iPod, you just hook it up in the room and it's going through the speakers, I mean, it's just interesting to me the ease of use items
They
that
have
you're
that?
seeing. Yes, they do.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
We're going to take a field trip, Craig.
So out of the loop. Yeah. We need to take a field trip.
We need to take a field trip.
Yeah, millions of above-water borrowers lack enough equity to move. Yeah, the number of homeowners underwater on their mortgages continue to fall in the first quarter of 2012, but millions still lack enough equity to move, Zillow revealed. And Zillow, the property home website, Zillow. Revealed in their first quarter negative equity report. According to the report, the national negative equity rate was 25.4% in the last quarter.
Okay, slow down. Okay. Negative equity rate. The effective negative equity rate. What exactly does that mean?
Yeah, good question.
It's the rate by which we're coming up or going down. I can't quite.
The percentage of the percentage of homeowners that possess negative equity nationally.
Okay.
Yeah, compared to 27.5% at the end of 2012.
Okay, so they're saying it went down by 3%.
Exactly.
Okay, I just want to understand the note.
It's good. The number went down. So that represents slightly more than 13 million homeowners with a mortgage.
Well, and they said it's reaching positive equity is a huge milestone, and I think that goes back to the optimism we talked about. I mean, I really do.
And let's make sure that we remain focused on the fact that getting to no equity,
about
flush,
break even,
okay, is going to be, if we're still talking 13 million homes nationally, and some markets are improving faster than others. Fresno County as an example, or California as an example, is improving rather quickly.
Rapidly.
That's still a huge number. Getting to break even is a huge accomplishment. And that's where I think we do have to remain focused on,
some will get to that point.
Exactly.
Quickly.
Having equity, let's not get too
excited.
And
ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, too ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Because I think, quote unquote, getting equity again, depending upon where you came from. Hold on, kids. Let's not again.
Well, what we saw was an anomaly, and what we consider to be an anomaly because of the speed at which it happened, the speed at which it occurred. So we do not want to duplicate the past.
Right.
And so having a break-even point, growing your equity in small incremental amounts, having patience.
Right.
Most investments, if you compare them, I mean, talk to Kate, if you compare investments out there, they're not coming up 20% a year.
Right.
It's not reasonable. It's not smart. It's not, it doesn't make sense to consistently do that.
Sure.
In any business.
Right.
So, I mean, that's, I think, what the point of this article is. Hey, if you're at the break-even point, sing some praises and consider yourself lucky and keep moving ahead.
Reaching
Live life.
any form of positive equity is a huge milestone.
And you have more options.
Sure.
If I'm at a break-even point, I can rent that property out and purchase a new property.
Mm-hmm.
I can do a lot of things that I might not have been able to do or couldn't consider when I was upside down.
Right, but let's also face it as well that having some equity, if you're able to stay in the property, or having no equity, let's say you're flush, is an extremely important point. Affects consumer confidence, affects spending, it affects so many different other areas as far as our economy is concerned. But let's not get carried away.
Right.
That it's not, again, we saw 19.8% appreciation in California on average from March of 2012 to March of 2013.
Yeah, that's not reasonable.
It's not going to continue. That's roughly 4 times of where we would like to see it.
Right.
And even when you get to quote-unquote flush or slight positive equity, it still may not be enough for you to sell your home to give you, let's say, to cover commissions as an example, if you're utilizing the services of a real estate professional. In that event, you just have to sit tight.
Right. Be patient.
Yeah.
Be patient. Watch the market.
Exactly. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that Michelle and myself share with you this bright and sunshiny Sunday morning, give us a call anytime, 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. We'd love to hear from you. You can also go to our resources online. That's go to our website. It's Valleywide Sells, and you can just ask Craig. ValleyWideSells.com. To friend us on Facebook, use Press 4 keywords.
Friend Valleywide on Facebook.
Or use Press 4 keywords.
Just ask Craig.
To get connected to the show anytime. Well, coming up, Sue from Fresno, we recently submitted an offer on a property, and our question is, how safe is the neighborhood? And Todd from Selma wants to know, I want to see a property that's tenant occupied, but my agent tells me, not so fast. What should I do? When we return, we're going to take some listener questions. Make sure you stay with us. You are listening to the Real Estate Radio Network, helping you to redefine real estate. Here on 105.9, the FM KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Mortgage interest rates are at historic lows, and there's never been a more affordable time to buy real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing property, let the mortgage professionals at Valleywide help. Valleywide Homes has been helping homeowners with their mortgage needs since 1997. When it comes to the Valley's real estate, we know our way around the neighborhood. Call toll-free, 800-979-3958, and put the seasoned professionals at Valleywide Homes to work for you. Valleywide Homes, NMLS number 342062, 235-952, California Department of Real Estate License 0122-8460.
Have you ever thought about going solar? It's never been easier to go solar than with a SunPower lease. You'll start saving money the very first day. Arise Solar has a team of energy consultants ready to help you determine if going solar is right for you. Start taking control of your energy costs. Contact Arise Solar, your local SunPower Elite dealer at 449-8989. That's Arise Solar at 449-8989. Or use Press 4 keywords, Arise Solar.
Did you know that all the tickets you can buy on different websites come from the same place? Did you know that you can buy every ticket you need to any event in the country, the whole country, from Pete's Seats right here in Fresno? If that's the case, you need to call Pete's Seats. Any ticket, anytime. Sports, concerts, theater. Hey, there's seats, and then there's Pete's Seats. Premium tickets for all events, local, national, worldwide. Don't settle for a regular seat when you can get a really good Pete's Seat. Online at Pete'sSeats.net or simply 294-SEAT. That's 294-7328.
How much should I be saving? When can I retire? What can I do to ensure that my estate will be left in the hands of my family once I'm gone? Is my hard-earned money safe in today's markets?
With all the uncertainty in today's world, all of us at the Island Group know it is our job to provide answers to these questions. Walk with us, the Island Group at UBS Financial Services. Call me, Kate Island, at 559-248-4097. That's 559-248-4097. And take the first step in protecting your financial future.
All rights reserved. UBS Financial Services, Inc. is a subsidiary of UBS AG. Member SIPC.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Well, Michelle, Sue from Fresno asks, we recently submitted an offer on a property. You know, my husband and I, our question is, how safe is the neighborhood? Have there been any crimes at this particular house, or for that matter, in the neighborhood surrounding? And is it just a safe neighborhood in general? What should we do?
I would say, first of all, get your offer accepted.
Yeah.
Honestly, because it may be a mute issue if you don't get your offer accepted.
Right. In other words, don't borrow trouble from tomorrow until you actually have something that you should be concerned about.
But as a licensed agent, our job is not to steer you to a particular neighborhood. And so when I say that respectfully.
Or redline you from a specific neighborhood, meaning that you can't buy there or you shouldn't buy there.
Correct there. And let me explain the reason we would highlight that issue on today's show is because my experience is totally different than you as the consumer. I grew up in a different place. Totally I went to a different school. My experience of what violence means or what safety means could be totally skewed from what yours is.
Right.
So, for instance, Megan's Law database, highly used by the real estate industry, highly recommended to our clients.
There's a Megan's Law
If there is a sex offender 4 blocks away from my house, I might be okay living there. If there's a sex offender 4 blocks away from your house, you might not be okay living there.
Sure.
So it's it's all on perception and how you
and not the responsibility that you want to take on to
Correct.
impose
and agents do not want to touch that subject as far as
should not want to
and shouldn't want
from
to
a liability standpoint.
Correct, because everybody's perception is different. So what I will tell you is there's probably 15 disclosures that we go through after your offer is accepted that the seller must share information about the specific property. Was there death on the property? Do all the utilities work? Is it near an area in an earthquake zone? Is there military people near, facilities nearby, etc.? Nonetheless, but you as the consumer should be checking the Megan's Law database. And there's also some additional websites that we came across that we highly recommend. MyLocalCrime.com will talk about the arrests, the arson, assault, burglary, robbery, shootings, thefts, vandalisms in a particular area based on the address. Now, we'll only tell you so many.
What a great resource.
But be aware, if you just look at it and say, oh my gosh, there were thefts that's a theft of a police report. A police report was done because someone stole the hose out of the yard or because someone came in and ransacked the house and took everything they own. It gives you no details. It gives you no specifics. Again, perception is everything.
So it's very general.
It's very general. So be cautious, about the information you believe when you go searching.
A neighborhood that, quote unquote, might not be in as favorable an area. You should also make sure that you compare that to a neighborhood that might be considered in a very favorable neighborhood or area as an example, to see how the reports might differ. In terms of the types of crime. Well,
and you as a consumer are responsible for part of this process. It's not up to everybody around you to make those decisions. Honestly, you should be involved in that 17-day inspection period. You should drive that neighborhood, And let's be honest, the crack smokers are not out at 10 a.m. Yeah. They generally tend to sleep in.
You got to be
so they're out about 10 o'clock at night, probably. So there's some general things that agents should recommend that a person do to make themselves feel comfortable in that neighborhood. Drive it, get comfortable with what you're seeing, and do your research, do your homework.
It's informed consent as a consumer. So it's extremely important. I'm not going to rely on you, Michelle, to tell me, it's great, everything's good, not a problem.
Yeah, because what I find safe, you may not find safe.
Exactly.
So I think that's really, really important. So when you ask, know that your agent is not avoiding the question for no reason. They're trying to get you to be empowered to do your own due diligence.
Certainly. Good answer. Well, Todd from Selma asks, I want to see a property that is tenant occupied. My agent tells me, I'm sorry, but you cannot see that property. What should I do? Because it's one of the 8 that's on the market right at the moment. So
there's 8 on the market that are all tenant occupied that nobody wants to show us. Honestly, in that situation as an agent, I generally am going to advise my client, let's drive the neighborhood. Let's look what's around there. Let's look at our comps. And potentially, if they are satisfied with the information we're able to gather on that home, let's do a subject to inspection offer.
So subject to inspection is going to mean that you're going to write the offer, and the offer is going to state, subject to the inspection of the property within a certain period of time. Now, what happens if you do write it that way and the tenant still is, quote unquote, somewhat obstinate and not willing to cooperate, allow you to see the property?
then that is on the other agent and seller to figure out, because...
So that's your out.
You cannot go into... Some people do, but I don't recommend you go into contract on anything you haven't seen the inside of. Now, that should allow you, landlords, owners, etc., the time to say, hey, tenant, it's California, guys. The tenant has 24 hours notice. Is all that's required. Put a note on the door and call it a day and say, I'm entering the property tomorrow. Yeah. It is what it is. If you want to move that property, you're going to have to work with us.
Sure.
And tenants do not have to be there for you to open the property, unfortunately. Gotcha. Yeah. They don't own the property. So, subject to inspection, but if you get in there and you feel your offer was more than it should be, you got to address it right then and there. Yeah. Otherwise... you've come to an agreement of price, etc., and based on your knowledge, as soon as you start your inspection period, if you're uncomfortable with anything, that's your out right there. That's your out. But that's anybody, too. Mm-hmm. You always have that 17-day inspection or 10-day, depending on the institution you're dealing with, and you need to use it diligently.
Yeah. Got to do your due diligence. How many times do you see that a listing is put on a multiple listing service? Do not disturb tenant. And subject to inspection.
A lot.
Yeah.
We do see it a lot, especially right now.
Yeah.
Properties are changing hands from investors and whatnot, and sometimes the tenant is going to stay there potentially. Maybe they have a lease in place for a length of time, and the seller wants to make sure that they're comfortable staying.
Gotcha.
So they give that option to the buyer. So don't get all, if you're a tenant, don't get all, twittipated just because your property's on the market.
Sure.
It could be that they're selling to another investor who's just going to continue on with that lease.
Who wants to keep the tenant in the property.
Correct.
Very interesting. I know some buyers in today's market, they'll get a little weirded out if it says subject to inspection. Some agents will say, forget it.
It depends on the buyer, too. Who are you dealing with? You're dealing with a first-time home buyer, you're dealing with an investor. Totally different mindsets.
And, exactly. Totally different mindsets. More concerned about the area and the return on their investment if you're an investor, as opposed to this is a place that we need to, at some point, identify as home.
Home, right. Exactly.
Awesome. Great answers, Michelle. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that you hear on our show, it all starts with one call, and it's a call from you. Give us a call anytime, 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. You can also go to our website and just ask Craig. Go to ValleyWideSells.com. You can search for your new home. To friend us on Facebook, use Press 4 keywords.
Friend Valley Wide on Facebook.
Or use Press 4 keywords.
Just ask Craig.
To get connected to us anytime. Not just during the show, after the show, during the week, anytime. We'd love to hear from you. Well, a special thank you to Michelle Lynn Pettis, my special guest host from Valley Wide Homes, here in the studio with us. Michelle, thanks so much for being here, kid.
Hey, anytime.
Really do appreciate it. And also a big thank you, Johnny B. You are the best, buddy. I can't believe you get up this early every Sunday morning. Oh, thanks, buddy. You always make it sound so good. Our goal at the Real Estate Radio Network is to get you, our listeners, the timely and accurate truth about your local real estate market so we can help bring you
back home.
Don't forget to tune into the Real Estate Radio Network next Sunday at 7 a.m. right here on 105.9, the FM KMJ. Local news, local talk. Make it a great day, Central Valley, and we will see you next week.
The preceding program was paid for by the Real Estate Radio Network.